what was your favorite part?
Oh, um, uh, you go first.
A pause. Do you think that we should do like some sort of like spoiler, like
Spoilers in words at the
yeah, like
very beginning. Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 4. We're so excited that we've made it this far. This is 2Chicks 2Cents, where we talk about movies and TV shows. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the movie Day Shift. And in case you forgot, I'm your host, Tiffany.
and I'm your co-host Delilah. Last week we did talk about the movie Project Power. It is on Netflix. If you missed that, it is going to be linked below. But this week we're talking about Day Shift. It's
Woo.
also on Netflix.
Yes, so this is another one of Delilah's picks. So I'll let her tell you why she picked it and what happened there. So,
Okay. Um I honestly don't remember the first time that I saw this movie. I think this was only my second time watching this movie, but I remember I was so pleasantly surprised whenever I watched this movie. It was so funny and they had so many like just great people in it. First of all, Jamie Foxx. We already know how we feel about him. We love him. And so I was very excited to see him in this movie. And then it's got Dave Franco and Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg. That's like the that little like extra something Snoop Dogg acting. You're like, what the
the
heck?
cherry on top. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the cherry on top of this movie, honestly. And it was. I love, like we all know, I love like mythological movies and supernatural and all that stuff. So it was very cool to have like some very cool people like Jamie Foxx and Snoop Dogg, but then I got like a supernatural element. I was like, this is dope. So the movie was very good. And I like me and my husband always were like, oh, that movie's great. Anytime like we're scrolling on Netflix and we happen to see it, we're like, oh, that movie was so good. Like I didn't have anything bad to say about it. So I was like, oh, let's see about adding it to our podcast.
That's cool. It's so funny because I remember not liking it the first time I saw it.
Really?
And yeah, and
Why?
and uh I think it's expectations, and that's why I was actually excited to watch it again because I was like, well, was it some unmet expectation or whatever? And then kind of felt it again. I was actually really hesitant to say anything because I'm like, man, everybody loves this movie and I'm sitting in the corner not wanting to party. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, and I was real on myself. I was like, why don't you like this? Why don't you like this? Um, Positives. Love, love, love Snoop Dogg, of course. That was like a really great element. I love I love vampire movies. I love the comedy aspect of it. And
Real quick, this movie was about Jamie Foxx's character. Again, it's just a really long day. Love those movies. It's a really long day. Jamie Foxx's character is a vampire hunter, and he's going through or has already gone through a divorce with his wife, and he ends up killing the wrong vampire. Vampires come after him. They take his family. Um, and there's a lot of comedic relief, and each character like they do what they're supposed to do, and pretty much that's what the movie's about. So I'm very curious to find out the things that you did not like about it, because the movie's fairly long. I want to say it's like almost 2 hours or something, so you get a lot of detail. There's not very much that you're missing. I
mhm.
think that there was only one thing about the movie that I didn't like. That, yeah, 1 hour and 54 minutes. There's only one thing about the movie that I thought was a little cringeworthy, but it wasn't anything like huge or anything like that. So let's hear from you.
Yeah. So like I said, starting with the positives, the things I did like about it, I love the element of like the exchange of it's almost like a bounty hunter style um world where, they're turning in these fangs, like proof that they've eliminated another vampire, like, and they're just kind of aggressively, they're like trying to eliminate the species, right? And so, it was like almost a form of currency. And I thought that was really fascinating, a very fresh and new kind of take on this vampire genre. Yeah, and then I loved the main villain chick. I thought she was badass. And I think everything about the story made sense. I thought it was really cool that the old lady in the beginning was actually her daughter, and she looks the opposite.
Hmm.
Love that. It was a great reveal, like later on in the movie. Um, yeah, so like I said, it wasn't like I hated it. I just didn't like it as much as I wanted to like it. And I think there were just distracting elements in some of the fight scenes. And then the other thing that distracted me so much was Dave Franco's character. And I felt like I know that it was supposed to be funny. I know that. And I think it still could have been. It felt like maybe the writer didn't understand weird people. Like it seemed like it was coming from the perspective of a cool person, like saying, "Oh, this is what weird people do. This is what weird people do," throwing it all on a character without really properly giving it good foundation and backstory and all that. Like it felt forced and it felt like there was a lot of pressure on Dave to be funny. Like it was like, oh my God, all this comedy is like resting on my shoulders. And it felt like he was trying to be funny rather than just being this character who's naturally funny with his mannerisms and his preferences and his particularity. I don't know if that's a word, but yeah, that and then the some of the fight scenes in the beginning. I was like, man, why are they so bendy? Why is this gun like shooting them like 20 feet, And I was like trying to make up the rules in my head, like, okay, well, maybe they have more powerful shotguns. All right, okay, I'll take that. And then the whole, um, some of the kind of contortiony stuff, I was like, it just made me think of casting. And they're like, okay, so we need 12 contortionists to come and make sure they submit a self-tape of them doing this back bend where they put their feet over their heads. Because there's going to be like 3 scenes where we have this and we need to make sure different person does it each time. You know what I mean? Like, so it just distracted me, like, I, that's all. But it's me, like,
Hmm.
it was a fun movie, you know, nothing serious about it. I read that it was this director's like directorial debut and like they sold their pitch to Netflix in like 10 minutes. They like bought it. They're like, yeah, we're sold. We're taking it. And so like and that's the power of a great concept. Like they really did do well. Um I just think in those areas it didn't hit for me.
And for me, in those areas, it did. I thought that James Franco, Dave Franco's like character, like his little one-liners and everything, it made sense for me for the character that he was playing and everything. I'm like, that makes sense that that's what he would be thinking about because he's never been in this position before. So like his character cracked me up the whole time, and then in some of the instances, uh, uh I completely understood like why he would like say like whenever they team up with that other band of vampire hunters and he's like fangirling pretty much. I thought that was hilarious. I'm like that
That
makes
stuff
sense
was
whenever
fine
you
for
see
me
somebody
too.
that you see
Yeah.
that you like admire a lot or whatever. So like I just thought that he was hilarious and that's what I actually wrote down for like funny moments or whatever. It was his little quirks every time. I'm like that's fucking hilarious and I out loud chuckled. And then for the fight scenes and everything, I wasn't distracted by like all of the like acrobats and all that stuff whatever, because like to me it made sense because they really emphasized about how in this world there were so many, like there were five different types of vampires, so it makes sense that some vampires could do some things and others couldn't. And it kind of felt more so like if you ever were to go like hunting for a specific animal, like say bear or whatever, there's all these different species of bears, and each one can do, some are faster, some can climb higher, some can like, so like that stuff, it made sense that some of the vampires were like very fast or acrobatic or whatever because they were different, and like some of them were had very old bloodlines. I feel like they did enough backstory, at least for me, with like differentiating the vampires, so like I wasn't wondering why in this fight scene that happened that way. And then also like I like in watching a lot of supernatural movies and stuff, usually their guns and tools and stuff that they're fighting with have been amplified in whatever kind of way since they live in that world, so it makes sense that their shotgun is shooting a lot stronger than your average shotgun to me.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, I hear you. And the only fight scene that bothered me was the first one, and that's where you don't have any backstory of anything of that.
Yeah, because that
And
first fight scene happens even before like the title of the movie.
yeah,
But I
yeah,
mean, it makes sense for how the movie went to find out who it was that he was fighting, and like to get the whole story going. Like
yeah.
it gets you like curious, like, oh, what the hell's going on?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's just unfortunate for the opening scene for me. Like, I don't think that there's any different way unless they started with um a different introduction, like maybe from the vampire side, them doing stuff, maybe eating somebody, maybe, doing some cool shit. That may have set the tone a little bit better for me. Um, but it's not something that I feel is important for the story or necessary. But I like that one chick that they teamed up with. She was cool. The vampire.
Yeah, I feel like, I
I liked her
mean, they
sword
had to team
fighting.
up with someone because they didn't they needed like a way to the bad
A way
lady and all
in.
that and everything. Yeah, and I guess they wouldn't have had that without the girl, but like I felt like her character was not necessary. I thought maybe
But
like
it's also the way they found him, or the way they found, like, his family, I mean.
the girl, she was badass. I do love that she was badass, especially because like when Dave Franco's character gets turned into a vampire, he doesn't know nothing. Like he's new, so they did need a badass vampire with them. So like that was dope.
But he
Um
did pick up those abilities that make sense that, all of a sudden everything would be heightened and he'd be able to do
mhm.
stuff that he couldn't do before. The two big main fight scenes I did like. When they teamed up with those other two dudes, I love that. Um, I love that he kind of set his pride aside and he's like, you know what? For my daughter, for making this money, it's worth it. I'm gonna team up with these
Mhm.
people. So I really
Mhm.
love that. And then the final battle I thought was pretty good. And
Yeah.
especially fighting that the chick, that I thought that was pretty cool. Her being super fast and then how he ultimately defeated her was really a great way to
Mhm.
tie it back to the beginning. But the mother and daughter, they died the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sad,
It's
but
kind of poetic.
yeah, poetic. Yes, I like that.
But
Yeah.
yeah, the only like note or one thing that I wrote down that I was like, oh, I'm not really a fan, or like that was kind of cringeworthy for me, was that I looked it up. The actress that plays like the evil woman or whatever, she is Mexican, and her Spanish is flawless in the movie. But I feel like uh they kept having her say random words in Spanish, and I felt like it was just to show that she was Latina. Um and that was it. Like the word, like it was not necessary for her to say that in Spanish. And then also of this whole sentence, she only said one word in Spanish. I feel like if it was really somebody that predominantly lived their lives like in Spanish and like that are Latin and everything, I think that she would have said much more words in Spanish, or maybe or it would have been more Spanglish. Like, and I feel like that's where they kind of messed up just with her dialogue sometimes. That was the only thing that I was just like, why did she only say that one word in Spanish? Like,
I could see
okay.
that, yeah. And
That
that
was
could have been
it.
easily fixed, like you said, like maybe one of her other vampires that she came from her homeland, and she's on the phone with him having a fluent conversation,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah, that
I
would have
think
been
that's the
that would have
only thing
taken
that they
care
were
of that.
lacking. Yeah.
Taken
Maybe
care of
if
that.
she, like you said, if she had a phone call or something, like where she spoke, or maybe if she just spoke to her henchman in Spanish, like
Yeah,
that would have covered like and us seeing like that she is Latin, and that's it. Like instead of just having her say random words in Spanish, it's just like that. Like she says this whole sentence in Spanish and then decides to say niña. What? Like,
cabron.
yeah. Like no, and I'm from I'm from Southeast San Diego. Like so there's a lot of Spanglish. Like there's a lot of there's just a
It's a
lot of
lot more
Spanish.
than one word.
Yeah, and it's a lot more than one. I feel like that's the only area that they could have done better, and especially because this movie was supposed to be taking place in like East LA or something. I'm like, it would have like I know how it just sounded. That's not how it sounds over there.
I love the
But
setting, by the way. I thought
oh, I love it.
everything where they shot it was really awesome. Yep.
Yeah, they did a great job with that. I love like the way that it was filmed. Again, same as Project Power. Like I love that it was kind of like grimy, gritty, but then like the colors were so
Right.
vivid. And honestly, anything shot in LA or San Diego, because like that's where I'm from, like it just has a soft spot in my heart. It immediately gives me more points in the movies just because I know and love the area. And I'm
It
like, no, love the area, love the people, love the vibe, love the food. So I'm just like, you got me. I really liked this movie. I thought that it was funny. I thought that Dave Franco's character it hit for me, and then Jamie Foxx's character also like he had like some funny things about him. Snoop Dogg, cherry on top. The movie hit for me. The only thing that I thought that they could have done better on was the random Spanish, like because it didn't make sense where they put it, and I felt like it should have been more Spanish. Um,
wasn't it funny when that guy in the beginning, what was his name? I wrote it down. Um, Troy, the guy he was trying to sell the teeth to in the beginning. Wasn't it
yeah,
funny that he was watching K-pop? Did you
he
see
was just
that?
all around like a funny guy, and I feel like anytime, what's that guy's name? Hold on. Anytime I see him in a movie, he always plays someone like eccentric, someone just like oh Peter Stormare, Stormare.
I've only seen him in Prison Break, and he always plays some like real rugged, like mobster, tough
Mm-hmm.
guy.
No,
So,
I've seen him. I'm looking at his whatchamacallit right now. I've seen him in actually a lot of things. I guess
yeah, he's
he's
in a
in
ton of movies. I see him
yeah
every now and then,
he's in Bad
everywhere. He's
Boys
like
2,
smaller.
Nacho
Yeah.
Libre, 22 Jump Street.
Did you say Nacho Libre?
Yeah.
Who is he in that?
Let's find out. Nacho.
I love that movie.
He's
Oh, he's
an
the guy in
emperor.
the boat,
Yeah,
and he's like the eagle powers. Yes.
yeah.
I forgot he was in that. Oh, that makes me like him even more. I loved him in Prison Break, honestly. He was a good character.
Honestly, I like the show Prison Break, but I always stopped watching because there's like one prisoner that like creeped me out that I just never like watching him.
Oh, I think I know who you're
It
talking
was
about. The
yeah,
pedophile guy?
yeah, him. I just every single time I stop watching it, like once they get out with all the prisoners, because I'm just like, and I've never gotten past it because he like legitimately creeps me out. That guy did a really good job, and he honestly
He's
always
really
plays
good.
somebody creepy or weird. But in other stuff, like I'm fine, but in that one, I'm like, you took it
I
very
actually
far. Very
really liked his character because he was so weird and the way he sold it. It's been a while since I've watched that. Been a
We could
long
add it
time.
to the seasons, to the
You know, honestly,
show.
I would love that. And about Lost.
I've tried to watch Lost so many times and I always give up because like I know the ending and I'm like that is so freaking cool. Like I want to see how that comes about, but I've just never made it past like I want to say episode like 6.
I took a screenwriting workshop and I was messaging the teacher and I was like asking about, um, well, how do you determine the ending and like tie it all together? Something, I don't remember what I was saying, but he's like, TV writers don't write with an ending in mind.
Yeah.
And I was blown away. It made no sense to me. But then it also does make sense because they want to keep it going. But that's what went wrong with Lost is like they started with this great concept and then they just kept twisting and changing. And because they didn't have like a target goal, it just totally got lost. It spread out and then they couldn't rein it
I feel
back
like
in
maybe
and make it make
it did
sense.
have some sort of like this couple of things maybe in the middle, this couple of things maybe in the end, this couple of things beginning, and then like maybe draw some lines and connect them all. Like you should have some sort of idea of where you're
Yeah.
going. That this
And
makes
I
sense.
think that you can still continue a story even after you've concluded this particular like point or part of the plot. I don't know, but that around season 4 for me is where it got lost. Lost got lost.
How many seasons are there?
Now that you ask, I have no idea, but I think it's like six or seven. I love the characters though. Like that's really what kept me watching. So
6.
6.
But back to day shift. What was your favorite part?
Ah, um, uh, you go first.
Uh, for me, I really love like the small things, like the big something that you think would be somebody's like favorite something. It's never me. It's always like the littlest things that get me. And so like I loved and I thought it was so funny whenever Snoop Dogg's character is walking him through the union, and every single girl he like they stop by or whatever, they're all like they keep all telling Snoop Dogg call me, and he's just
Yeah.
like oh okay, like it's nothing like whatever. And they're like, and
Yeah.
Jamie Foxx is just like as if he's invisible. Like all the ladies love Snoop Dogg in this movie, and it's so funny. And like that he's like a black cowboy, love that. And then the scene when Dave Franco like he's a vampire now, and his head gets cut off and everything, and he keeps like jumping at Jamie Foxx. He's like oh I'm sorry. Oh I'm like oh my bad. I did not mean to do this. And then
He
when
did that intensity really well. Like
yeah.
when he was really feeling you smell everything. Yeah, he
Yeah.
did that really
And
good.
then when they're in the girl's house and he comes in, he's not feeling it, and they're gonna give him blood because he hasn't had any blood yet. And like they're like, "Here, drink this." And then like his first thought, like he's like, you can tell homeboy looks like he's gonna pass out, and he's just like, "No, I'm a
I had to look
pescatarian."
away.
I laughed so hard, and I'm like, that's so funny because again, being from San Diego, and you know, so many people that are like on this diet or that diet or this fat or whatever. So like that just gave me that vibe. Like it's like that's not what this is about right now. Like you need to just eat this. Stop it. It like
You know what
no,
you
I'm
are.
a
You know the
pescatarian.
stats. Like,
Yeah, it's so funny.
yeah.
And that's what I wrote down was no, I'm a pescatarian. It's
That's
just so
funny.
simple, just such a little like quick little something. I'm like, that was hilarious. Like that was good writing in my book.
Yeah, that was
So what would you give this movie then? At 10.
5. 5 out of 10. Yeah.
Okay.
What's yours? What's
Okay.
yours?
For me it was a 8.5, 9 out of 10.
That's good.
Again, only thing that could have been better for me was maybe if they do another movie or um no, that was not it. If they fixed the Spanish, that would have been great
Ah,
for me.
yeah.
That's it. Because I really loved how like him and his family like they were on the outs, and then as soon as like his family found out like oh he's a vampire hunter, vampires exist, this is what's going on. I love that they were not like cowering and like, no, this can't be real, and like all this stuff, like what you usually see in supernatural stuff. They were right to the shit, like, okay, we gotta handle this, we gotta take care of this, and then like that's because that's, I feel like a real family, like that's how it, we don't have time to break apart and not believe it, and it's right there in your face. We just don't have time for this. And that's what
Yep.
I always think in supernatural movies, whenever their loved ones finally find out and it's not a secret anymore, and then they break apart and they can't handle it, and then they're mad that you lied, and it's like, you know why they
Like,
lied, and you see
yeah,
your
would you have
reaction right
believed me?
now.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Also, that was a little
period.
interesting, not nothing bad or good about it, but I thought like I was a little surprised that she was surprised that vampires existed because there's this whole organization built to fighting them. And it's a pretty public, notify law enforcement, this and that. And so, but then the public doesn't know about it.
Have no clue. And then
They
he's
have
like,
no
oh,
clue.
but in your house, like by dark time, and like other people don't know about it.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's the thing that gets me. Like, you see stuff like that, and that's why I can never 100% say that supernatural things don't exist. Because what if
What if
I'm
they're
just a
just,
ditz and I got no clue?
yeah.
What if,
Or what
the
if what if
government
there's
covering
like
everything up is actually working on me?
what if there's like actually something like that works like a neuralizer for Men in Black, you know? Like what if that exists and they can actually
It
erase your
does.
memory?
I just,
What if it's some kind of frequency that comes through from social media and it's like buzz and then you
and I be
just
on social media, so they got me
right?
for sure.
They got us all.
They they got most of us for sure.
Yeah. I mean, if it's not that, it's the news. If it's
Mm-hmm.
not the news, it's the radio. Okay, so how about you draw the next movie? See what we're going
Oh,
to be watching next.
alrighty. So we did get another recommendation from my
Yay.
husband. He said that we should add in the movie Bedazzled
I've never seen it, never heard of it.
with Brendan Fraser. Let's see. Here it is. I'm gonna add it into the movies pile, and then
Shake it up real good.
yeah, I'm gonna shake it up real good. We'll see what we get. But this movie that I'm going to be drawing, we are not talking about next week, because next week we are finally talking about our TV show, Severance. So this
Yay!
movie is going to be drawn right now, and we're going to talk about it in our 6th episode.
Yes.
Okay.
And by the way, if you have not started Severance and you don't know what it's about and you want to watch a preview, we do have them linked in the description. You can also check out our social media, which has a couple little clips if you want to see that.
Yes. Oh, it's mine again. The next movie we're going to be
Mortal
talking about in this
Kombat!
episode is Mortal
Yay!
Kombat on Netflix. So good. If you grew up with Mortal Kombat, playing the games, having the action figures and everything, I really think that they did us
Did you watch the
justice.
old movie from like the 80s? Or is it 90s? Did you watch that old one?
Mm, yes, I did. So the one that we're watching is on Netflix, and it is the 2021 Mortal Kombat. But let me see when the original 1995 film.
Hmm.
Oh yeah,
I
I've seen
watched
that
them
movie.
recently. I watched them maybe like 6 months ago because I was like, I grew up in a really strict household, and so we couldn't really watch that stuff. We couldn't play the games. But I remember going to a friend's house and playing the game and being like so addicted, like I need to play this more. And so I just saw it pop up somewhere in like Max or something. I don't remember the old one. And so I
Yeah,
was like, yeah, let me check it out. So I watched the old one and then I watched the new one. It was a fun experience, especially watching the old one. It's like, oh my God, these graphics are, like
well, now you're watching the new one again.
yes, yes.
But
That's okay.
next
Yeah.
week when we talk about Severance, we will be drawing another TV show. So if you do have any TV shows that you like us to add in before we draw for our next TV show, we will add it
Yes.
in, put it on this video.
That is all that I had to say. That is all for the show. Um, Let us know how we're doing. Let us know what you want to see. Like, comment, subscribe. Check out the description. There's lots of goodies in there. We've got previews for the next one, previews for the old ones, and all of our social media. So follow us on social media, please.
Yes. We're here.
We're
Talk to us
here.
about your shows.
Talk to
Anything.
us. We don't bite. And we respect your opinion. We respect your opinion.
Yeah.
That's just like
All
she
opinions are
respected my
valid.
opinion. I respect her opinion. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the best thing about this is that we don't really care. You could like it or not like it.
Yeah.
That's cool. We
Exactly.
just like watching shows and movies. So it's really fun actually whenever we do have different opinions because I came into this thinking that she was gonna love day shift. So the fact that she didn't, I was like, wow, I didn't really see it that way. I didn't think about that, but that's cool.
Yep.
I got no stake in the game.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
bye.
fine. Later.